The team paid for the belt, then left the high-end store. But moments after leaving Barney's, he says police slapped handcuffs on him. Eyewitness News reporter Dre Clark spoke to him. He's at the store on the Upper East Side with the story all new at 5. Dre?
Sade and Diana, Barney says its doors are open to everyone. No discrimination here. But a Queens teenager says he believes he was racially profiled when he came here to the store in April, and that led to his arrest. Now he's turning his anger into action by filing a lawsuit.
Very embarrassing. Very.
19-year-old Trayon Christian says he had the right color money but the wrong color skin when he went shopping at this Barney store on the Upper East Side. Trayon bought a $350 Ferragamo belt with his debit card, a transaction that was approved and signed. But Trayon says after he left the store, 2 undercover NYPD detectives stopped him a block away.
Undercover cops from the left side that had regular clothes on stopped me from the left side and asked me like, oh, I just got a call from Barney saying your card is not real.
Trayon says he told the detectives the card was real and he had a receipt proving his purchase. Trayon says he was handcuffed and taken to the 19th precinct where he claims he was held for 2 hours and then released.
They was like, I'm sorry about everything that happened and your card is real.
He was traumatized behind that. It was very upsetting.
As for that $350 Ferragamo belt, Trayon says he worked a part-time job and saved a long time to buy the belt, but he returned it after that alleged incident, and he says he will never shop at Barney's again.
So, when I was growing up, I lived in the same house as my mom, but we didn't live in the same neighborhood. See, my mom never had a reason to fear or distrust the police, but for me, that was a big part of my childhood. And I learned at a young age that I would experience some things differently than my white mom because I have a black dad. For example, one of the few memories I have of my dad as a kid is seeing him yelled at and questioned by police on the street. And when they didn't like the answers he was giving them to their questions, they proceeded to aggressively question me. And I was just 8 years old. And as I grew older, that fear and distrust of police grew with me. By the time I was in high school, I was getting stopped by cops and security guards at the mall, at the bus station, on the street, and often they'd have comments about how I dressed in baggy jeans and hoodies like any other kid at the time. In high school, I was so afraid of cops that anyone in a uniform made me feel uncomfortable. And unfortunately, that experience isn't unique to me, but it's the status quo in a lot of neighborhoods across North America. Right here in Toronto, for example, Black people make up 8.1% of our population, but over 1/4 of the people who were stopped by police last year to have their personal information entered into the police database were Black. And that type of disproportionate interaction, when it's seen as unfair and illegitimate, breeds a distrust of law enforcement. It makes people distrust cops, who are the most visible faces of our legal system. And when people distrust law enforcement because they believe that the law is not being enforced equally across all communities, they grow to distrust their government and believe that their government works for some people, but not for all people.
Trayvon Martin, 17 years old and unarmed, murdered by George Zimmerman for looking suspicious. Michael Brown, 18 years old, shot by Darren Wilson for walking in the middle of the road looking suspicious. Tamir Rice, 12 years old and unarmed, murdered by Timothy Lohan for looking suspicious on a playground.